Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all? We are excited to welcome you in. We are just going to do a little bit of chatting. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. My name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And we've got the lovely Katie Brockhurst with us as well. So we are so excited to welcome you in, and we suspect that there's a few of you who are actually going to be coming in to play. So I'm just going to mute this and play with a few bits and pieces. As you can see, new and revamped for 2021. Kelly and I have been playing a little bit with technology, and that's really what today is all about as well, because we are going to be talking about not just Clubhouse, but all social media and how to really get your heads around it, get your time around it in terms of how to use it effectively. And we've got quite a lot of you joining us already. So please, please, please tell us a little bit about this. Let me do this for you. So we want to know, what is the buzz in your business? What is the buzz in your business? Now, we are talking about anything that is exciting, intriguing, enticing. Don't all say, I'm really excited about Clubhouse, because, you know, like that's a thing anyway, and that'll happen through the thing. But seriously, 2021, what's the buzz in your business? Where are you at with it? Tell us. We want to know in the comments. So let us know that. And so whilst you're doing that, lots and lots of comments already. Happy New Year. Thank you very much. We are enjoying it. I think the swanky interior from Brett is actually for you, Katie. I think that might be right.
No, swanky intro.
Oh, swanky intro. Okay. Sorry, can't see. Oh, swanky intro. Thank you, Brett. I will take that. I'll just kind of go all the way back. So yeah, say hello and tell us what the buzz in your business is. We are obviously back. That is part of the buzz in our business, and we're very excited. We had a couple of days strategy kind of lazing into the year last week, and we're very excited for all that we've got planned for the year coming up, but more on that at some other point. I ran my traditional vision board workshop on the 31st of January. You can let go of the year that was, step in and wake up to the year that is, knowing what you are doing and everything else, and it was just phenomenal, like really phenomenal. And so for those of you who might be doing a little bit of FOMO around that, it is a brilliant thing to do. I'm not even being big-headed about it. I promise it is pretty much the best thing that you could do. If you are interested and excited, A, PM me, or B, just come. 31st of January. Kelly's put a link in. 31st of January. I'm doing it again. It's a great way to spend a Sunday. What can I say?
I'm going to read these out before they go. Before I do mine, I'm going to read these out. So Carolyn Hobdays, her book is launching on Monday, the 18th of January. Nice. It's an awesome book. I will be at that book launch. Deborah's about to launch her brand new CIC, Getting Kids Social Again. She's super excited. Tom loves the StreamYard. You guys are pros. Love it. So yeah, keep on going. I have got a link to put in here, which is I did an interview with Anna Parker Naples podcast. Oh, yeah. I just get the link ready. And basically that is where I was talking about how to run a speaking business in 2021. So yes. Very much looking at the digital strategy side of that. So again, I've just put that in the links down there. So if you want to learn a little bit more speaking in 2021, then have a look at that. Tom Evans' 17th book launch.
17th book launch.
A machine. You are an absolute machine. So Katie, brilliant. Tell us a little bit about your buzz. What's going on in your world before we start interviewing you?
Yeah.
About social media.
Well, I've got my social media for a new age club that opened up in November. So that's very much the buzz in my business, growing the membership there.
It's so good.
And we've also created a DIY digital space clearing workshop that went live this week, which is all about how to see the energy of your spaces, how to bring in digital well-being. So it's all my bits all mixed together.
I've just put a link to it, darling, in the comments so people can check that out.
And Tom loves your unicorn mirror, which of course we know. It's absolutely brilliant. And seriously, for those of you who don't know Katie, you'll know her a lot better by the end of this interview. And the three of us have known each other for quite some time now. And really, this is her forte, and for those of you who haven't experienced it, I just wholeheartedly endorse anything and everything that Katie does, and the workshop is really great.
And pre-warn, we might be quite a while on this space live. One, because we talk all the time. Two, because this topic is just off the rocks, basically, right, in what we're going to talk about. So grab a cup of tea, and I hope you've been to the toilet.
For sure, because you don't want to miss anything. And for those of you who are doing the hashtag replay, don't feel like you're missing out. Do add your questions in as you go, and we'll all three kind of be commenting on it in all sorts of ways. So let's kick us off. Katie, we obviously know lots about you, but please tell everybody listening and watching, who are you, what do you do, and a little bit about your personal journey with social media so that they get a context for what we're going to be discussing.
Well, thank you very much. I am Katie Brockhurst, also known as the Social Media Angel. And I got that nickname from my clients because I was able to make social media feel simple and fun and enjoyable rather than feeling like a chore, which I know for some of you it can do. My relationship with social media, it's been in my blood, from being, I think, about 13 and queuing round the block in the computer room to get on the networked computers, through to setting up a social media network platform when I was 21 at university, about 5 years before Facebook. And then I created a social media agency in 2007. So I've been on the journey with it. I've grown with it. I've experienced many sides of it. And I think 2018 was quite a big wake-up call for me as well. I just wrote my first book, Social Media for a New Age. And I think I started to understand about addictive design and data and what was happening with our data. And that took me on then this digital well-being journey that I've been on for the last 2.5 years as well. So marrying the two parts together now.
And I love that bit, because what it shows for you is that you've seen the internet change, you've seen social media change. So you understand it from a tech point of view, you understand it from an engagement point of view, because this is one of the things, you're very much about the relationship that social media enhances. Because you've got that spiritual element, that conscious element, you really see things from a different perspective. And then with your own ups and downs, there's the mental health link with social media. So that's why we brought you on, because we're exploring what social media looks like in 2021, and we will address the elephant in the room, which is Clubhouse. I know Lubna's there going, looking forward to hearing about more Clubhouse. It's like Clubhouse is the heroin addiction for people at the moment. We'll give you your fix, but we're going to talk about the change of technology platforms in 2021, and we will make sure that we're looking after your mental health, because it's really important we look at it holistically.
For sure. So hang on. Before Kelly sneaks in, go on. You ask your question, and then Katie, don't answer it, because I know I'm going to say something else. Come on then.
No. I was going to go straight into Clubhouse, but if you want to say something.
Well, the thing is, you can go straight into Clubhouse, but the thing that everyone, the thing that I always make sure that we do, and that's what we say to all our speakers, authors, and coaches, you have to frame things first. Now, Clubhouse, Kelly and Katie are both iPhone people. I am certainly not on a Mac, on an Android. So before Kelly asks you questions about Clubhouse, for those of us who are Android-led, please will you explain what the goddamn thing is and what it does before you actually talk about Clubhouse?
So
I know there are some people watching. I know Hayley was watching, asking about, I'm an Android, can you tell me about it? It's this FOMO thing that everyone's talking about and they don't know what it's about. So it is a good call, Helena.
I know, and I'm sorry you're all experiencing the FOMO.
Well, and the thing about it is we were having this conversation before we actually sort of went live. So for those of us who are launching, as speakers, authors, and coaches, we launch all the time, right? We are bringing new things out all the time. So it's a really interesting thing to have this duality of there is the island people people, and then there are the Android island people, and it's like there's a great big sea in between, and we're sort of stood here over on our island going, what are they all doing? Like, what's going on? So yeah, please tell us, what is it? I get that it's coming, but what is it, and why should I be interested when they actually launch it for me?
Okay.
And Carolyn's just made a really good point that she's Android, but she's got an iPad, so she has been able to access it because it's iPad and iPhone. But
that makes a lot of sense, and I'm a total I'm a non-I household here.
So I'm going to make a bold statement and say I think it's the most exciting thing to happen to social media for me since Instagram. And the reason for that is because it's different to the other social media apps that are around. And the reason that it's different is because it's audio only. It has a really simple interface. So when you join, you are invited by somebody, so you have someone that you can go and have a look at who they're following and what clubs they're in, because there are clubs and rooms that you can get to follow, and then you just have one news feed, and it's called the hallway, and in the hallway there are rooms, and in those rooms are people talking. And it reminds me of the internet in the 90s when chat rooms appeared. Chatting to one another, but all we could see was a profile picture or whatever they'd put there. That was like the limit. And it's the same. You can have a bio. Yeah, Kelly.
Okay. Do you also remember CBs? I used to have a CB when I was younger, and you had your handle, and you could only just tune in to who was live in the area at the time.
I'm sat here now thinking about ICQ and just going, oh, yes.
I think we might be showing our age a bit, though.
So far, so good. You're selling it to me. I'm beginning to come round, right?
So that energy is there. It's fresh, and people are just in there talking to one another. So you can create a room yourself, or you can enter into a room that somebody's already hosting. There can be private rooms, there can be public rooms, and you can have a club as well that then has themed rooms. So it's just, what I have seen is that people are able to be authentic in a way that they aren't able to be on other apps. And that's a quote directly from Clubhouse users. There isn't the pressure of posting pictures or algorithms and all of that going on. The stuff that shows up in your hallway is either friends, people that you're following and rooms that they're in, or rooms of people that you're following already. So you can choose your own experience. I mean, there is also some rubbish on there as well. Don't get me wrong, but so far, so good.
Yeah.
And so we understand it's really simple. We understand it's audio based. And don't get me wrong, when I first joined and I went into a room, I was like, can they hear me? So you're on mute unless you get invited to speak, and then you can decline that as well. So just be aware that you can join and leave quietly any room that you want, and so it makes it really easy. I mean, Katie and I were co-hosting a room last week, and it was just really easy just to basically, some of the people that were co-hosting was, I'm in my pajamas, I don't have to worry what I'm looking like here, I'm just literally talking to everybody, and it's really accessible. So it's very good for the lifestyle that we're living at the moment, where it's on the go. We are having a PJ sort of lifestyle with lockdown. And so it really helps with that. And it also highlights you don't have to have a beautiful setting and the kids running around in the background. The sound quality is really good, even if you don't have high quality mics. I've just been using my phone mic. I don't know about you, Katie, but the sound quality has been great just for that.
And it's live and unedited. So they're not recorded and you can't edit them. So you're in a room while it's live, or you're not.
Oh, I quite like this idea, because actually people need to be more conscious of what they're saying.
Oh, what an interesting point.
So that's one of the things that people are saying, that it's making them become better listeners, because they're really having to listen in order to respond, as in a really good way. Deep listening is happening within the platform. But equally, people are really finding their voice and growing their confidence through then getting on the stage and interacting with speakers and being in the moment. It's a very in the moment platform. Yeah.
Okay, I am now actually beginning to experience FOMO.
Sorry, we haven't even started yet, Helena, but don't worry. So, one of the things is that there's this, one of the things I like and one of the things I don't like. One of the things I like is that I was describing it when Katie and I were hosting a room as like live radio, where you can actually tune into a station that you like the sound of it. But the difference to live radio is that you can connect with the person that's actually delivering the show, so follow them and, or like them and then look at their bio and see how you can connect with them. And most of them are actually having connections via Insta or Twitter, so you can then connect with them on different platforms. But you also get to see who's in the room with you and who's listening to a topic that's also interested in that. So you can connect with them too. So you start building what Helena and I talk about all the time, like valued people, because not only is it the experts, it's the audience of that topic you're able to connect with. And then what happens, which doesn't happen on radio, is sometimes the actual co-host or the host would invite you to come and speak. So you can then come up as a presenter and start sharing your voice and your thoughts. So it makes it much more interactive, and it's showing your authenticity, because if you don't know your shit, people will call you on it because you're not prepared. It's that access to you, which we love, because it really rises the people that know their stuff and are experts. They really get to be heard. The downside is I don't like how people are using the invitations as bait. I've seen, what did we hear, Katie, when we were on the room the other day? Somebody sold an invite for £40,000.
Get away.
I would have just given it to them.
It was like, that. So one of the things is,
Tom, you are so playful. Tom is like, is that your shit or your shit? Brilliant. Thank you, Tom, for this. Thank you for bringing us down to earth. Yes, and we're all reality now. Yeah.
So, Katie, can you explain the invitation side of it to people so they understand how that works?
So at the moment, the way that you get on the platform is by an invite from somebody who's already on there. When you get invited, then you get given one invite, and then after about a week you get given another 3, and then after another week another 3, and the more active you are on the platform, the more invites you are given. There is a slight hack as well to get in that if you apply and save your username, so you sign up, basically you're put on a waiting list, and if one of your friends is in there and has your mobile number in their phone, they get pinged and say, do you want to let this person in? So you can also let people in, and of course that is also network. So I don't think it's so much it is social media, but really it's social networking. So when you're giving away your invites, or what happens is you're then on their bio, because it says recommended by, and so you forever are then part of their profile page as well.
I feel I need to apologize to the 16 people who've invited me. I'm sorry I've wasted your invites. I'm sorry.
Well, and I love this hack, right? I feel so sorry for that person that spent £40,000. So really, because I know that we've got Carolyn and Jack. I know I've let those guys in, right? Just not without invites. You have to be in the person's contact phone before they signed up. So before I signed up for Clubhouse, you had to have been in my address book.
No, that's not true. So this morning, 2 of my club members, I got given 3 invites this morning. So I put a call out to my membership, and I just got them to send me their number. I put their number in my phone, and then I was able to invite them.
Oh, so is that using one of your invites, or is that when you went? Okay,
that's using one of my invites.
Okay, so I'm talking about just waiting people in. Yeah, so I've still got, I shouldn't say this because I might get hounded, but I've still got 5 invites waiting, sitting there. The people that aren't in my contacts that might want it, watch the screen now, right?
Exactly that. Carolyn felt very special when you let her in.
Yeah, so that's the type of thing. Carolyn didn't ask. She was in my address book. I got a notification saying, would you let Carolyn in? And I just said yes, but that didn't use an invite up.
No.
So if you do know people in there that have your number in their address book, then just do what Katie said. I think it's really important when a new platform comes up, whether you're going to use it or not. I encourage most people to secure the handle, even if you're not going to use it, because we don't know what's going to come. We don't know how big it's going to be. So if you're an Android user, I recommend you just getting in and securing your handle now, because let's talk about the elephant in the room with the Android, Katie. It's coming, isn't it?
It is, yes. I've been in the townhouse rooms and the community onboarding rooms, which I also recommend to anyone who's joining. Get in the "You're new to Clubhouse, come and find out what it's about," because it's really been built on community up to, but they were only up to like 10,000 users, and then they've gone to 1 million in the space of like a couple of weeks. But the foundation is community and supporting. So in those rooms that I've been in, obviously there's been a lot of questions around the Android, and they have been told by the developers that it is on the way. I don't know its land scale though.
Good. And that's one of the things we love about you, because you were one of the early adopters. So you were in there right at the beginning. So you've been able to see all the conversations that were on early days and all those types of things, which is why you're a blessing to have in our community. So we're not going to do this whole live about Clubhouse.
We're not.
We've spoken a little bit about what it is. We've spoken about people that aren't on there yet, how they can secure their handle, how they could potentially get invites, and the ones about Android are coming. Just for those that are on it at the moment, Katie, could you give us some tips on how to use it?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, once you get in there, get orientated. Do go and join some of the community rooms for beginners. That you can find them quite easily, and just listen and get a feel. I would then also look at who, if you're following, so whoever like brought you in that you're connected to, go and look at who they're following. Start to look for people that you know and start following them, and start to look at what clubs they're in and what they're listening to, because like attracts like often, and there's some really interesting rooms and clubs to join. I would then say I spent some people start talking straight away, but I spent a good few days, if not a week, just listening and just hearing and learning and just really receiving what was happening in the space. And I felt like I was able to then contribute to the space, because from what I learned from being in the community rooms, it's all about contribution and service to one another. Like, people are really in there to support each other, which is why it lights me up and why I'm so excited about it. So start to really start to feel that ethos of the space. And then I would either, ask to be on a stage and ask a question, or if there's a conversation going on, or then, maybe form a group like we did, Kelly, and have a smaller room where you're talking, and then people can come in, so you can start to get a feel for both what it's like to participate in someone else's room and also then create your own. And so this is one thing again that I love, and anyone who's into any of my work will hear me talk about the town square and the living room. And so what Facebook and Instagram have been the town square, and we've obviously been competing in terms of algorithms and things to be seen in those spaces, which has become quite tiring for some people, but it's still this town square environment. And then we've got groups and different spaces that are the living room, which are smaller, where people know each other more. So I think within Clubhouse, you've got the town square and the living room. I mean, you're in a hallway, so you can actually, if you actually think of it as a physical hallway and go, what door am I going to open now? And and so you'll be in a room with, maybe you could go into a room that's got 500, 800, 1,000 people, and that's got more of this town square feeling, and just enjoy being in that space, see what that feels like, and then go into a room where there's 20 or 30 people, or maybe 10 people, and know that you're in more of a living room space. So
I'm totally the living room loungy person. I'm totally going to be hopping from living room to living room. That's but that says a lot about who we be.
Yeah, and the point is that Katie was in a living room with Gary Vee the other day. I was in a living room with Les Brown. It's like, hang on a minute, you don't normally get to be in living rooms with these people.
That's really great. That's just fantastic. So
just a couple of things about how to use it, because I know Katie, we were talking about this. So I've seen some really good examples of using it outside of the platform. So lots of people who run podcasts are starting to now have an after podcast show on Clubhouse. So the person's live on podcast, and then you get to chat with them on Clubhouse afterwards. So that's one way you can use them. One way, if you've got a membership site, is you can actually do private rooms where other people can't see unless they're invited. So maybe you might want to have a membership chat or touch base or a session on there for your members. So we might do it with Changemaker Central members in the future, and when Helena's on. Sorry, but
no, that's totally fine. Don't worry. I'm pretty much sold now. I'm pretty much sitting in the waiting, and so interestingly, and I'm going to say this in context of the question that I'm going to ask you next, Katie. So interestingly, I've gone from arg to in this conversation to. Actually, I really like the sound of it. I love the metaphor that they've actually created around the rooms and around all of that. So I love that they've made it really accessible. And so again, the part of me that's explaining this right now is saying to all our speakers, authors, and coaches, in order to be in your authenticity, in order to develop the products and programs that you do for people, which is what Kelly and I are all around, actually having something that makes sense and tells a story and that allows people to kind of buy into it definitely makes a difference. So I'm doing the meta version of here is a product that's actually kind of working. And what I'm feeling inside me right now, and then I'll let you go. What I'm feeling inside me right now is actually they've really thought about this. Yeah. They've really thought about this product. And actually, I now don't feel arg. I feel like I would want to go and find out when the dates are, but I feel like I'm not missing out because of the connectedness that you say that you're getting.
Yeah.
And just one last thing, and I do want to highlight something you just said there, Helena, is that when you're hosting your own rooms, and Katie, you're going to have to remind me of what this is, but I think it's when you've hosted 4 of your own rooms, you can set up your own club.
Yes, I think 3 or 4, you can then apply for a club. And I think in time, excuse me, they're going to make it so you can monetize clubs. So you can create your own paid membership clubs within. So one of the things I'm going to start playing with my membership club is that I'll get my club to come on, and my club members in Mighty Networks will create like a stage as speakers and then attract people to come and have the conversations around what we're learning in the club. That becomes again another learning tool, because I think the more we practice speaking what it is that we're doing in the world, we hone our message more. I saw Matt Thomas was talking about something similar, but he's a big fan of Clubhouse too.
Yeah, of course.
And he was just saying, the more you talk and you explain things, the stronger you can get around your message. And I love that about it too.
Yeah. And that's sort of the point I was going to go back to Helena, because even though some people might not be able to access it or haven't got an invite, the importance of what Clubhouse and whatever else, Parler, Telegram, Gab, Signal, all these things that are just blowing up at the moment, it's your reputation that counts. Because whether you're on one or the other, when people know about you and you've built that strong connection, you've got that relationships, and you're seen as the expert in your space, people will seek to find you when you're on those platforms, especially as you said, when you go to the person that's invited you and you look at who they're following, you start creating that like-valued network. But it doesn't really, we know that stuff's going to happen with the internet. Platforms will come, platforms will go. Yeah. And it's the important messages that you are consistent with your message, you're caring about your network and your community, and then wherever you are, people will seek you out. So don't have too much FOMO, but I know that's strong about your message as well, Katie. It's about the reputation that's important, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the relationships that you build, and already in there's, the clickbait titles for rooms, come be around millionaires, come earn your 7 figures, your 6 figures, and all the stuff that we see happen on other platforms. But I think it's about being discerning when you're in there, and really about how you're using it to network and create relationships with others.
Yeah, and so that's where I want to take us away from Clubhouse, because I think we've whetted everybody's appetites, because actually I want to take it into the wider world of you, social media angel that you are. You and I specifically have been on a really great journey birthing your first book, and we know, both of us know that, the way in which social has kind of changed people, and you've been watching that journey, as you said, sort of, we know that, things like watching The Social Dilemma on Netflix and everything else, those are some of the things that really kind of are beginning to highlight how we as individuals actively engage with the thing that is social media, you know, because it is an entity in and of itself. So I know that you do a lot of support and help and education around how people interact with that. So let me bring us into 2021 in this day and age. What are your, I guess I'm asking, what are the main concerns that you have around this, and how do you advise people not to fall into the rabbit holes, really?
I mean, I have a few different concerns. There's definitely the way that the tech on particularly like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter has been built using what's called persuasive design and addictive design. I mean, it's actually called the hook method, that came out of a lab at Stanford University, which if you've watched The Social Dilemma, you will know about. And it's really, you know, it's about how they can get as much data and as much of our attention and time. It's called the attention economy. And obviously it's now worth more than oil and gold. It's, you know, multi-trillion-dollar industry.
What do they say, Katie? They say if you're not paying for the platform, you are the product, basically.
You are the product.
That's it.
And we are. And I think what's come up, and I think the reason I'm getting a lot of people coming to me saying, I don't know what to do, where do I go, is Instagram brought in new terms and conditions on the 20th of December, which basically say they have access to everything in your phone. And of course, that makes people feel very uncomfortable. Like, we want the surveillance capitalism. It's a real thing. And unfortunately, big tech is at the helm. Amazon, Facebook, Google, you know, they are.
WhatsApp are changing their terms and conditions next month as well, aren't they, for the same reason? So.
And I think a lot of it is because they're going to be pulled up in front of governments on antitrust laws. I mean, our UK government did a report in 2018-19 that was, and they called Facebook digital gangsters. That was what they said in their report. And so I think we have to be aware of those things. And what I have learned, and what you know, and I love Facebook and Instagram and all of those things, but you also then have to start to see, okay, what's the way forward? So Instagram brought in new terms and conditions. WhatsApp are bringing in new terms and conditions on the 6th of February. And when you read them, it does say we can access your financial information. We can track everything that you're doing on the internet, basically. So I think this question alone is making people think, and that's a concern for me. But I also think this addictive design, and I think at this time of lockdown, I mean, my screen report, I was up 30% this last week, which is quite a big chunk.
Especially for you, because you're so mindful of how much you spend online, right?
I know. I really try to do. Yeah. I mean, from what I learned from my digital, so I did a digital wellbeing diploma this year and a coaching certification, and you know, there's things like our eyesight. So I don't know if you've noticed, but if you've had a full day on tech, when you then go outside, it's harder to see long distances. And so in Korea, they did a study of young people, and they showed that actually long-sightedness is decreased over time because of how much time they spend on their screens. So we're losing.
When your parents used to say your eyes would go square, actually it's starting to happen, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it is a real concern of what it's doing to our brains as well. So what happens is, or I had to do all the neuroscience around this, when we're getting this high information load, which sort of gets stuck from between the top of our heads and the information pathways around to the back. What happens is when we're online all the time, we are literally gathering all this information up, and then that stops us from being creative. We're not able to do deep thinking. We're not able to do deep reading, and we're not able to concentrate in the way that we would if we had one. So it's important for our mental health.
It really is. And you know, there's an antidote around that. There's a brilliant book by Cal Newport. I'll dig it out and pop the link in.
Digital minimalism.
Oh my God, you know, sort of like both of his books are actually really quite amazing. I'll look them both up and I'll pop the links in. But there is something to be said for us taking charge of how we actually do that. And of course, you know, that's one of the things that you advocate. So you know, can you tell us just a tiny little bit more around what might people be able to do? What can people do right now so that they're not 100% kind of caught in the rabbit hole, Kelly?
And I've put a link to your books down there, so you might just want to mention your recent one as well.
Yes, so yeah, my second book is a digital self-care guide. So it was really I wrote
brilliant, by the way. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's really easy to read.
Thank you. But what I've learned since, so I wrote that before I took the course, but what I've learned is that really the most important thing is taking space from your device. Just making sure that you get out. Actually, nature is one of the greatest reset buttons, and that actually clears your executive attention in 10 to 15 minutes. So if you can get outside and look at the blue sky and maybe a green expanse, that actually clears the information overload that has collected.
Like pressing the cash button, isn't it?
And I am just going to say this: digital minimalism. Just read Katie's book first, but then digital minimalism on Kindle is only 99p at the moment, so it's really worth it.
What is he's like, take a 30-day complete break, and I just don't think that's realistic for any of us in this current
You're
time.
running a business.
So it's really about the daily actions you can take. They say, no screen time for an hour at least before bed. Same when you get up in the morning. Definitely no phone in the bedroom. I also use things like screen time and app limits. Like Instagram was one of my little rabbit holes. So I put like a 15-minute a day limit on there. And then if I had to use it for work, I would use my desktop rather than the app, where you can get in, because the endless scroll is part of the addictive design, because there is no stopping cue, and that's on purpose so that you don't stop. I just think there's getting that space from your device on a daily basis is really important. And also, like noticing, like in the body, what's going on. Like I find my use is high when I'm by myself, which obviously lockdown, I live on my own. This is why my time is up. But what I notice myself doing, I'm suddenly going from one app to the next app to the next app. And I've put a thing on my phone that says, what are you looking for? And so it's just that jolt and that reminder that, am I looking for connection, or am I looking for information? Or, okay, if I'm looking for connection, actually let me pick up the phone and phone somebody and have that connection. But that is another reason I love Clubhouse, because it's audio. So you don't have to have the screen. You can just have it left in the back on the thing, and you can be making lunch, cleaning the kitchen,
And it is actually really interesting, because I found in the last 3 months, and obviously in the world of isolation and, sort of lockdown and everything else right now, I am finding that literally, rather than typing something to someone, I am back to picking up the phone the way that I was. And I'm not afraid to say I'm 52 years old. So, the way that I was when I was 17 to 19, and just hanging out on the phone for an hour, legs in the air, like lying on the floor, just chatting to people, because, that actually is a great way of connecting.
Yeah, I've stopped doing FaceTimes with friends and actually started phoning them for that same reason. So I'm not looking at the screen. I'm not seeing myself on the screen. That I can just be like with them. Yeah.
And I think one of the things, when Helena and I watched the Social Dilemma last year, we both were consciously going, okay, we run a business. The Connection Hub is like where our organic traffic comes from. It's where we love hanging out. So what we both did is said, okay, we're just there's two things that we made a massive difference to my life, and I'm sure they did for Helena too, is one, we only go on to social media platforms 3 times a day. So we have 3 different hours. So we stagger when we'll be in the hub, when we'll be on our social, and when we'll just be on networks, so that we give ourselves that time slot that we go in and we come out. And so we know that we've got it managed. And that just makes sure that, and as we say, the second thing that was the biggest difference for me is turning all my notifications off.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any notifications.
Everyone has them off now.
But that was my thing. I would be working away, and on my phone I'd see like some red dots on Facebook, and I'd be like so tempted to go, what are they? And I'd just pick it up. Now I don't know unless I go in on my allocated time to go and look at that. And it just made me so productive. But it's also, I've not got that distraction of over here. I just have those set times.
And it's really interesting for those of you who want to actually experiment with that, because your working day is going to work around that. So we needed to, because of course the two of us run the business, we needed to look at what works for Kelly in terms of the time slots, what works for me. So I've had to rejig a little bit of, because it suited us, not I've had to, but I chose to, so I'll say it that way, that's much more appropriate. I chose to go, actually, I do morning slots with people. So I tend to do deep dives with people of about 2 or 3 hours. And so that actually works for me. And my lunchtime slot. So, I'm the lunchtime girl. And that actually means that I have 2 separate chunks of my day that actively kind of work. But now, in terms of the if I'm running a day-long workshop, or indeed if we're running a day-long workshop, we're accommodating that piece in. So there's a wider impact on your working rhythm. And you all know that I'm a big fan of, you have to take charge of your rhythm in order to actually be present in the world. So experiment with it, but give yourself a break around how is the rhythm of your day going to accommodate that, because it may take you a month to really kind of rejig and figure out when are you most present with that type of thing.
We've also created strong neural pathways of ways that we use our phones and unconscious habits around how we're interacting with it. So one of the things that I'm recommending with clients is digging out an old phone and having certain things on that phone, and maybe it's Facebook and Instagram and everything, and then having a light phone that's not as connected. So that's not only protecting your privacy and your data, but it also means if you go out for a walk and you're worried that if you slip over and you haven't got a phone on you to call somebody, you can then actually contact someone. So I've got an old iPhone that's just Wi-Fi only that I'll then use for the social media app. So it means I can be more controlled around what I'm using and why. Because otherwise I pick my phone up because my mum's rung me and then I've disappeared down an Instagram rabbit hole without even realizing 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Katie, if I go back to my Nokia, I will go back to being addicted to Snake.
Oh my God, me too. Oh, Kelly,
I have dug my Nokia out.
Oddly enough, I was actually rummaging around for something the other day, and I have 2 phones for which I can use, just as you've just said, and one of them is my old Nokia.
Yeah. So I think it's really important that we address this point, that we need to be conscious around our habits. We need to be conscious about the platforms that we choose. As we said before, the changes are constant, not just in social media, but the internet, right? As we've just seen, all of these new platforms that are sprung up in the last few months. We've done training before on how to choose your primary platform and how to use it. So in the Connection Hub, go back to watch those videos, because that will help you decide where your avatar hangs out, which one's best for you. You don't need to be on them all. Can I really highlight that? Okay. And the important thing, hello, Mr. Cat. I want to highlight that it's your reputation that's the thing that's the most important, your message, your connection with your audience, which is what we always sing our praises about Speaker Insight and the Connection Hub, that's the most important bit. But one of the things that I know we've had conversations about, Katie, because I've got like an Oculus Quest. When I started to do my workout exercises using Sleep Natural on there, Katie sort of like sent me a PM going, are you going down a VR world? You need to go and do proper exercise outside. So let's just talk about what tech might look like. I know we put in the post that Tim Berners-Lee mentioned that he's been building the new internet since 2018. What the hell does that look like?
What does that mean?
From what I understand, it's really about data privacy. So I don't know if he can build a whole new internet. But I think it's actually around having sovereignty over your data. So he's talking about us having these pods that then you have all your data in, and then you're able to choose how you use that data, whether you sell that data or give permission to companies that, rather than it just being an under the bonnet in secret writing disguised 23 times as to what they're doing.
And that's going to massively disrupt big tech, Facebook, Amazon, all those types of people, where that's their business model, right or wrong, that's their business model. So we know disruption's coming.
Yep.
One of the things that I know with
yes, I just love change.
Me too.
for a new age. I mean, some people find it overwhelming, but I find it really exciting.
Yes, let's embrace change. And one of the things that I know that you've given concerns to some of the groups that I'm in before is the Facebook's Horizons virtual reality platform and stuff. So tell us a little about the VR world, how much you know about it, what people should be aware of, just all those types of things that could be coming or are already here. I
think VR used well, again, could be really exciting. There are some ways that people are using it for meditation and like you with exercise. Unfortunately, I don't trust Facebook with VR world. Like, what data are they? I mean, they're talking about neural interfaces and the way that it works. And the reason that I was concerned is, again, in my studies, we looked at a experiment where they'd taken rats and they put some of them in a virtual reality environment and some of them in a real world environment, both the same, and just saw how they reacted. In both, they reacted the same, really looked like happy little rats running around. But when they looked at their brains, the ones in the virtual reality was the cells were displaced and weren't in order in the same way that they were. So I would just like to, with everything that we're talking about these days, is just see some longer term studies and what it does, and for them to have that awareness, because it looks so exciting. I mean, I would buy a VR Oculus set tomorrow if I didn't have those concerns, because I think as well, like living on my own, the fact that I could put this headset on and go off, and I would just end up living in a virtual reality world.
And it really is, you know, sort of, if you think about, you know, this is art imitating life or life imitating art, you know, sort of it definitely has this, you know, if we are, as humans, we are only limited by our imagination. And as humans, we have imaginations that just go wild, you know, sort of in all sorts of ways. And so the fact that the VR world exists, if you go right back through from the 60s onwards, the movies that have been coming in more and more and more with this augmented reality, with AR, with AI, with everything that's coming in, you know, there is, it really does have this whole, I suppose what I'm saying is there's an invitation for us to step back and go, is this good for me? And how is this good for me?
Yes.
And that's the invitation for all of us, right?
I think, and this is it, but just having seen how social media in 10 years has become this thing where, you know, I go to London and everyone is earpods in, eyes down, you know? And I just think with virtual reality, from what I know from researching things that Zuckerberg has said, I mean, he even did a post this week, which was a little bit tone deaf, that was like wishing happy birthday to one of his developers. And he was one of the VR developers, and he calls it the next computing platform. So Zuckerberg is very much pitching his, he said it will be VR social networking. So I'll be able to put the headset on and have a coffee with my mate in America, you know, without having to travel there. And obviously when travel is the way that it is, it's going to make very tempting.
Yeah, and that's really what, so just to give people that understanding of Horizons, that's what it is, isn't it? You have an augmented version of you, which is really random. But
but we're back to Second Life. I mean, like,
avatars last year. Do you remember there was a big thing having your Facebook cartoon avatar? That would be like your Horizon avatar. So that's coming out of that same tech platform. I've seen some demonstrations of people in Horizon, and you're in a house, you move around. I mean, I think even now you don't even need the hand technology that the new visors even track your hand movements. You don't even need the handhelds, so you can literally just walk around and see people and stuff.
I did see Zuckerberg go live with him talking to somebody in Horizons, and it was just like, it was crazy. But it's all about the consciousness, isn't it? You know, I know when I use Supernatural, it works massively, because when gyms are shut down, you get an instructor. It's like, but then I do my workout in Galapagos one day, in Chile the next. You get to visit the world. It's amazing.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I would love it. I think that's part of the reason I'm staying away from it.
Of course. And that's one of the things, is you have to have the consciousness and the willpower to take it off, do half an hour a day, and then, say, go out in nature, still, you know, if I know you sent me that study, Katie, and I can put it in the comments if you haven't got it already, but the rats one, it did make me think, and it did make me go, okay, you need to be aware of this and make conscious decisions on how much time you're doing it, and that it doesn't skew your neurology, because that's how you're spending most of your time, because your brain will adapt to that, right? That is the neuroplasticity.
But social media is skewing that digital screen, so they all do. Each layer is a new layer of it, so it's awareness, consciousness, and moderation. I always think of it like the plant can kill, or the dose can kill or can cure on certain plants. It's all about the dose, and I feel the same way with technology. So a little bit of VR is probably really okay, but someone sat there all day, I feel like we're going to turn into that. What's the movie where they're all in the chair?
Oh, with Bruce Willis. It's Bruce Willis, isn't it?
So yes, there's that one. There's actually
and then there's version. And the Wall-E one.
Wall-E.
Yeah, it's Wall-E. I've been thinking about Wall-E for the last 4 minutes as you've been doing this. I'm like, I'm going to watch that tonight. I think I'm just going to watch. So for those of you who want that reality check, go and watch Wall-E tonight.
And the Bruce Willis one is called Surrogates.
Surrogates, which is, oh my God, Surrogates is terrifying and really, really wonderful because it's got Bruce Willis in it. Like, what's not to love about that? So anyway, so I'm aware that we're doing the thing that we said we were going to do, and it's 10 to 2 and we've been at it for a while. So hopefully we're giving you all just a little conscious wake-up call. And what I want to do is I want to draw attention to this fantastic woman who we've got right here, because, you know, you are doing so many wonderful things. We've already put the links into your books. Honestly, go get them, read them. They will make you think and bring you into the consciousness kind of for sure. But how can people connect with you for reals? Because I'm a member in your club, obviously, so I'm totally going to go, yes. But
I mean,
tell everyone.
The club is the best way to contact me right now, for sure. I do 2 calls a month, and I'm also sharing bits of content in there throughout the weeks and the months without it being too much, because I'm also very aware of respecting people's time and energy. So that's social media for newage.club. And I am on Instagram still, not as much as I would. I will stay on Instagram. And the other platform that I'm now playing with is Telegram. So you can come and see and find me over there.
So maybe, Katie, in the comments when we finish this, you can put your handles of all of your platforms and your Clubhouse handles so people can follow you on there. I'll put ours down as well so that people can do that. But it's just just to see where people can hang out. We're really proud of ourselves that we've kept you off Clubhouse for an hour.
Come on.
This would have made a good Clubhouse chat, though, right?
Right.
I'm sure when Helena's in, we will do a room.
Well, the thing is that I'm now actually just really quietly excited, like really just going, wow, because now and again, so I'm going to do it from a meta perspective, because so this year Kelly and I are definitely, for all of you, the Connection Hub people who are, for those of you who aren't inside the Connection Hub, please do come and join us inside the Connection Hub, because that's a pretty big thing for us anyway. But really, we want you all to be consciously choosing the business. When Kelly and I talk about running a business on your terms, it really is about the choices of everything that you do that comes together, that makes your life and living and work included within that just a brilliant experience. And so that's really the invitation for all of you. Get a little bit more conscious about what you're choosing to put your day into, because we've all got the same 24 hours and we can experience them, you know, in the way that we really want to, in the way that we desire to, with that little added consciousness. So we are hoping, I think I can speak for both of the ladies here with me, we're hoping that we've made you at least think about that and tweak some habits in some way. Which is really
Have a
cool.
lovely day, and we will see you next Tuesday. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And I'm going to say goodbye now.